Chris Wallace is the anchor of Fox News Sunday. He joins us now. Chris, good morning to you. Good afternoon from Windsor.
I have to say, you look smashing, I guess is what the British would say, and that's quite a backdrop behind you, Sandra.
Well, that is quite proper of you. You are always a gentleman, Chris. Thank you for being here. But meanwhile, there is so much going on there back at home and big decisions to make when it comes to North Korea and strategizing what to do next. What did you make of what you just heard from Lindsey Graham there?
Well, look, a lot of this is played out actually on Fox News Sunday. A few weeks ago, John Bolton, in his first interview as National Security Advisor, came on Fox News Sunday and said very dramatic terms as to what the North Koreans would have to give up in exchange for getting a relief from economic sanctions. And he talked about the Libyan model from 2003 and 4, and that is when Libyan dictator Muammar Gaddafi gave up Libya's entire nuclear program in return for a reduction in sanctions, a relaxation in sanctions. Now, the North Koreans read that differently because, of course, later on, in 2011-12, the U.S. and the Allies moved against Gaddafi, and he ended up being killed by rebels in the street. So if you're Kim Jong Un, that doesn't sound like a very good model. And they said, look, the last thing we want is the Libyan model, which is why the president was at pains yesterday to say, no, we're not talking about the Libyan model, with John Bolton standing in his shadow in the Oval Office. So basically, they got to have this meeting today because they got to get on the right page. They're sending mixed signals, particularly Secretary of State Pompeo and John Bolton, and they got to make sure they're on the right page and they're sending exactly the right signal to Kim Jong Un. As far as what Lindsey Graham said, it's also what former Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff Mike Mullins said on Fox News Sunday last week, which is, look, this is very hopeful that you have the summit, but if it falls apart, then there's not much more room for diplomacy. And President Trump, is he going to feel that without room for diplomacy, that he has to engage in a military strike against North Korea to stop its nuclear program? So that's the high risk and high reward of this Kim-Trump summit.
So what extent is President Trump showing that he is willing to go to make this summit happen, Chris?
Well, he's accepted the deal, and clearly he seems interested, I was going to say enamored, of the idea that he could pull off a deal that everybody in the world thought was unthinkable just a couple of months ago, the idea that Kim would give up his entire nuclear program in return for relief and sanctions. And the president also yesterday sort of upped the ante in terms of what he would be willing to give Kim. And he basically said a security guarantee that the U.S. would never, or at least as long as Kim minded his manners, kept to his word, that he would never move against the Kim regime. So he's obviously willing to do a lot, but having seen how Kim and his father and his grandfather went back on their word in previous cases, clearly he wants clear assurances and proof and a way to verify that Kim is giving up his nuclear program and his missile program before he's willing to make any promises of security or economic relief.
Chris, we always look forward to you making news on Fox News Sunday on the weekends. Who do you have as a guest this weekend?
Well, Lindsey Graham, although I have to say that my colleague Martha McCallum got a lot out of the senator, but he's always interesting, and it'll be interesting to hear what he has to say about this promise from President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday. Pretty amazing for him to basically say, if Kim makes a deal, he'll be safe in power, North Korea will be a prosperous country. One of the questions for Graham is, are we giving up too much in return for what North Korea might promise to do?
So mark your calendars. First, watch Shep Ainsley and I covering the royal wedding tomorrow, and you have to set your alarms for that as well. And then tune in for Fox News Sunday on Sunday. Chris Wallace, always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Sandra, I just have one question for you. Are you going to wear one of those silly fascinator hats tomorrow?
I guess you'll just have to tune in to find out, Chris Wallace.
Well, that's a good reason.
Sounds like you think I should. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what Shep's wearing, right?
Well, I would pay money for Shep to wear a fascinator.
I hope he heard that. All right, Chris Wallace, thank you.